Arrakis. DUNE. A planet that is both a volatile desert wasteland and the most precious jewel in the universe. For it is only on Arrakis where the spice melange can be found. The spice has shaped humanity for a millennia, and it is the foundation that makes interstellar travel possible. Fortunes rise and fall as quickly as the sands shift on Arrakis. It is a place where a smile and a quiet word can cut as easily as a crysknife, and nothing is what it seems. Welcome to DUNE.
And we're live.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, and welcome to Weave the Tale. Tonight we're playing episode, what, seven?
Six.
Six. Oh
Six?
my gosh.
Yeah, six.
73. 73.
Heck!
God, I hope it's not 7.
Oh my gosh, we are in the last 3 episodes of our show. This is super exciting. We are playing Dune Adventures in the Imperium by Modifius Entertainment, and we are so excited to be here. But before we get into the blood, sand, and spice, let us introduce our players, starting with Paul.
Hey everybody, I'm back. I missed last week. Had some stuff and things I had to do, but I'm back. And I know you all missed me from what I heard. I heard rumor that I was missed. I also heard rumor somebody did my thing without me here, and I would be upset. But
Sorry.
That's cool. Passing it along. I'm paying it forward. Just paying it forward. It's cool. You can find me here on Weave the Tale. You can also find me on Guild of Phoenix's brand new Response Team Omicron podcast. Go download that right now. And on Twitter at PaulMargin6, and I make random appearances all sorts of other places that we can cover at the end of the show. But it's good to be back, and I have no idea what happened last game because I don't watch episodes between stuff, so they're going to have to telephone this to me, and we're going to see how great that's going to go this week. So there we go. That's my 5 seconds of fame right there.
All right, then let's go on to Jace.
Hey everybody, I'm Jace Ridley, and you can find me at Jace Ridley pretty much everywhere. Gonna be here hopefully more often. I'm looking forward to the next 3 episodes to cap off this arc, and hope you'll join us for that. Sorry, I'm exhausted.
No, you're fine. You're fine. All right, let's move it along to Allie.
Hello. I'm Alexandra Pitchford. You can find me on Twitter at LexiPhoenix. And I am looking forward to the shenanigans we have planned for today. I do a lot of TTRPG streaming lately. I write, I game design, and that is basically my gist.
Tech chiming in to say, I want everyone to keep note of the crowns beside the name. That would be the meme queen on the Discord.
Oh!
Oh my, that's exciting. Well done.
Didn't know we were in the presence of royalty. My bad.
Exactly.
Like a behaved face.
Right?
She is the heir of a noble house.
Yeah. What is it? Art imitating life? Is that where we're getting?
Something like that. It was even a meme. It was even a meme about the Benny Gesserit having the ultimate mom voice.
Oh my god. I mean, it's true though. But yeah, sadly, our beloved Dr. Mark will not be attending tonight. We will miss the shenanigans, I imagine. But I am super excited. I am Jen. I go by SavageSparrow on the internet. If you like everything I do, I run this game every Tuesday, and I play in Ian's game, our Pathfinder game, every Sunday on our sister channel, Penny for Tale. And yeah, let's see. This season, Weave the Tale is sponsored by the aforementioned Modifius Entertainment, Green Ronin Publishing, Free League Publishing, and Imagining Games. We also really want to give another super huge thank you to Rachel Wilkinson, who did the voiceover in our fantastic trailer. She has created an amazing World of Darkness podcast called Port Saga. Link to that is in the show notes. As note also to everybody watching, we have some really cool rewards set up for retweet goals, donation goals, and sub goals. Hitting some of these goals helps support the cast and crew, so if you dig our stuff, consider checking those out. Well, without further ado, let's get into the game. Okay.
Oh man.
So
I was gonna say some shit spicy first. I'm just saying the doctor's ducking me now that I'm back. The doctor's ducking me now that I'm back. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The doctor is ducking me now that I'm back. Make it spicy.
Definitely. This is the spiciest take. And it's June, so we need to have that spice in there. It's good. It's to just go back to that weird gif of Kyle MacLachlan in the original movie. But anyway, so on our last episode, we had a series of vignettes to sort of advance the plot around. You guys interrogated a Harkonnen spy. You attempted to talk to Raquel, who is a very well-connected smuggler. You have brought to light a bunch of things regarding the plot of Chidon being this pawn in a greater game, and most unsettlingly ? You met the heir of House Evanesque, who was creepily keeping very close to the Lady Lucinor.
Hanging out in my air vents.
Yeah, just she probably just politely saves your various toenail clippings, like just marking the dates received and stuff like that. It's fine.
I didn't. Nobody needed that image. We were all having a nice day.
You're welcome. Welcome to Dune,
Then
everybody.
you made it weird.
I mean, this is it's Dune. It's already weird. Like,
That's
come on,
fair.
you guys. I would argue this is one of the less weird things in this series.
And then there was a hair doll.
Yeah, and then it came to life, and
We did talk
then
about
Whoa.
dolls. She had little poppets.
Oh yeah, she
Yeah,
did.
she did, remember?
She had a couple dolls.
No, I wasn't there. I don't remember.
Oh.
This is all going to be new to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all going to be new to you
had-
when we ask you how this woman got on board the ship and is just crawling around in the vents and you don't know about it.
I don't. I was off.
I want to
was off
find
ship
whoever
doing a
put
thing.
people-sized vents on this thing, and I want to space
Yeah,
them.
that was definitely not on my plans. Was people-sized vents. That
So-
was never in my schematics that I put in.
So my thought was literally it's a Star Trek sort of thing where like you need to have people-sized vents so the various systems and technologies that run the ship and are contrary to the aesthetic can be hidden in these spaces, but they do need maintenance sometimes. So
So we have Jeffrey's tubes.
yes. Because I don't know, I was watching the movie and I'm just like, these ships are really cool and very well designed. But again, it's like there is aesthetic and not like, oh hey, let's use these practical
You gotta hide that function out of sight.
The ones in the movie definitely look like they're form over function, but they're beautiful.
Yes.
They really are.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Because again, like, when you're
Really?
folding space to travel the galaxy, you gotta do so in style. And, you know, I imagine Raquel's ship probably doesn't have Jeffrey's tubes because it's probably just, you know, holding itself together and doing its best.
Exposed conduits and shit, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's just sparks randomly, you know, whatever. It's fine.
I will keep my mouth shut about the Spacing Guild ship then, because I feel like I'm going to say something blasphemous here in a moment.
Gasp.
It looks like an unfilled cannoli. That's what it looks like.
That's how it's described.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
All right.
That's right.
There, I've said my piece.
All
The
right.
spiciest episode where we're not in character.
So, I guess, do you want to then have this taking place, because I gave you guys the opportunity to do some downtimes, but, like, you know, I think the week sort of got away from everybody.
Yeah.
So, like, do we want to have
Sadly.
this taking place then, especially since you get the opportunity to icily catch up Paul, that maybe this happens, like, you know, the next day or something like that, where Raul comes back from his scouting mission, perhaps?
I mean, that works for me.
Yeah, that's perfect for me.
Excellent. All right, so let's set this up. You know, where are we having this meeting? Are you inviting anybody, any of the NPCs to attend, or is it just like the core team? I imagine the doctor is currently engaged in a rather in-depth trance that he seems unresponsive to, because I feel like that's something he'd do.
I mean, I would just invite Theron over the doctor to any meeting we're going to anyway, because
That's valid.
am spiteful.
At this stage, yeah.
Oh,
He was helpful during the
A
interrogation.
little confusing, but helpful.
And not for nothing, but Theron wouldn't be on your side if he did not, you know, do all of that. So,
Oh, absolutely.
there's you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. He just, unorthodox. That's a good word. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
You're dabbling into the eccentric, the use of the word eccentric. But I think you might end up inviting Theron based upon the information I have at some point in time. So we can start with the three of us and then do some invites from there.
Yes. All right. So,
We're clearly having the
guys...
meeting in a Jeffrey's tube. We're clearly having a meeting in these brand new discovered Jeffrey's tubes because they're clearly secure and not being observed by any spies. So we should take advantage of our brand new secret meeting places.
It's just mildly concerning that we have had so many spies just go completely unnoticed on this ship with all of the security.
It's like plot gets to you. It's fine.
There's like an entire room back here big enough for a clandestine meeting. It's like, who built this? Who built this?
This was not on the plans I was given. Like,
oh my god.
Which I guess is the point.
Like, that's the point of having a room big enough for a
again,
clandestine meeting that there's surveillance.
Also, again, not for nothing, but, you know, spies are just a part of life.
That's
and
true.
some of them are paid very well to have particular qualities to make them more difficult to find.
It's not
Or
like I
Jeffrey
don't have a
Tube
bunch of my
sized.
own.
Yeah, legit.
All right. So, are you doing it? I mean, like, I'm imagining an air duct, so if you want to be talking, like, butt to butt, like, that could be a thing.
No,
but I don't feel like that would be the most...
seriously talking in the Jeffrey's tubes.
I think we would likely either be meeting in the security office or...
Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I would repurpose the doctor's party room into being a war room because he doesn't get to use it anymore. So
that's fair.
We might as well take it. We might as well take advantage of the room that we used to have set aside to do things that were frivolous and turn it into something functional.
Oh,
works for me.
Man. I love it. I love it. Here
I dig it.
Okay.
I'm down.
All right. So yeah, go for it. Describe what people are walking into.
So as we get back, this is something he probably had projected for some of his men-at-arms while he was gone. All of like the glitz and glamour and flair and throw pillows are gone. It is like stripped down. It is like that Star Wars Imperial chic of everything in this room is super functional. Like you have the table with like the displays and everything that's set up. You have everything on the monitors. Everything is easily within arm's reach. It is designed to be a tactical deployment room, and like the most frivolous thing is probably like the group drinking area for water. Like that's it. Like it is very sparse, it is very functional, it is the exact opposite of what the doctor was using it for, and he's very happy it has been repurposed for this because he felt we were giving up a secure location so people could get high. But there you go. There are two guards, two of the men-at-arms, and as you guys come into the door, after the three of us are in there, they'll step out. He'll run a quick sweep of the room, and then basically, unwrap himself, and, I assume this is happening shortly after he gets in, so, like, he probably went from the hangar directly into this meeting, so he's still in, like, ground garb and has dirt on him. But he is happy to see everyone, and not very happy the doctor isn't here, but very professional that the doctor is not present and hasn't just suddenly regained a position amongst our trusted inner circle. So his mood is not as tense as it was the last time that Cassandra saw him.
Speaking
Good
of
that you're back
Cassandra,
safely, Raul.
what
Good to
does
be here.
she look like right now?
Oh, she looks exhausted. She does not look like she's been sleeping well. Probably a bit more wan and pale than typical. Maybe some dark circles under the eyes that she's at least passably hiding, but it's still clear that she's exhausted.
Legit. Yaru looks slightly invigorated that he's got to get his boots on the ground and do a thing that felt purposeful. So he's got that look of like, I'm in motion and I'm going to stay in motion. But yeah. Turn to our dear Mentat friend and extend a hand, telling him it's good to see them again.
Yeah.
And you, my friend.
So, what did I miss while I was away on the planet? Safely is a relative term.
So you would notice, at least Zev in particular would notice that Theron has shifted to a form that is a less overtly alien-looking version of how you first met them. So basically, like, they're still pretty tall, like, around that 6 foot, 6'2" range. Slender with that, gracefulness about them. They have very pale blonde hair that is pulled back into a loose-fitting ponytail, and just sort of wear the just a very androgynously cut sort of attaché uniform.
Sounds good. So it's good to see everyone doing better. Theron, pleasure to see you again.
I hope that your mission was productive and fruitful.
I've made a relatively good assessment, and more than likely your skills are going to be needed in the near future. I assume Lady Cassandra wishes to keep civilian casualties to a low, much more moderate number than some other members of House Harkonnen. Oh no, it's. Would you like me to give a full debrief now, or are there other things I need to be caught up on?
There are a few things. We've had some developments since you left for your reconnaissance. For one, we seem to have caught the individual who left that unnerving note. As it turns out, it was the heir of House Evanesque herself is currently located in a very secured, very devoid of sharp objects room until we can figure out what to do with her. I have ideas, but...
That sounds like a long conversation. How? That's a little interesting.
She was masquerading as a laundress.
Indeed.
Fair enough.
There was a shrine.
She bit Samuel.
I mean, that's probably not good for her. There's a shrine to you? Interesting.
Yes. She made dolls out of old clothing of mine.
Worshipper?
I do not wish for a worshipper. Certainly not one so clearly obsessed and unhinged. I'm truly at a loss to explain how or why she is this way. I've never seen her like this.
Did you know her before?
To some degree. She was always quiet, fairly reserved, kept to herself, kind of mousy.
Interesting.
But I haven't seen her since my brother passed.
And she is the one that your brother was going to marry.
Yes. And that I would have been arranged to marry if my father had agreed to the secondary deal that was offered once my brother passed. But, well, I can't imagine what would have sent her down the path to being this. She's unstable.
Interesting. Well, that was a possibility I did not expect. This will be interesting.
I hate to say it, but it might be useful for our purposes as well.
I don't disagree.
The beast wishes a scapegoat, does he not?
Oh, he does. Theron, have you observed the prisoner well enough to be able to mimic them?
Yes. I mean, madness is difficult to truly
don't necessarily need the madness, more getting past very baseline things. That might be something to discuss a little bit later. So I can debrief on what I found. First and foremost, the palace, well, palace is an understatement. It's disguised as a palace. It's much more of a fortress. It is shielded, which is not surprising. But they've also set up the civilian population outside the walls to use them as an additional barrier to combat that may or may not occur, which means infiltration is more than likely a small, fast infiltration is going to be much, much easier to do with what we need to get done. But given Theron's skills and access to the heir apparent of the house, this should be much easier than I was originally planning. But I have been made aware of where their shield generators are, some hidden ornithopter routes for escape routes, as well as the main hangars with more ornithopters, and then the fortress itself. I don't have a complete layout because I was not able to get in, but given what we now have access to, we might be able to map this entirely before we step foot in.
I like the sound of that. And in regard to our, well, I suppose, practically a hostage, we might be able to use her instability to our advantage, given that it would not be hard to pin the murder on her.
That's fair. I mean, I would much rather have her security clearance codes for her family's house, but, that also works.
Well, we can get those first.
Yes. Theron, you were going to say?
I was going to say that from what I observed, she seems like she would do anything for the Lady Cassandra, so I imagine
I've noticed.
if it's not something that you have the fortitude to want to push, I know you care for people, I could try to do that instead and take your place.
It is an idea.
That's actually not a bad idea at all. It also means that anything you say to the truth-sayers will be factual, because you did not administer this particular action.
This is also true. I don't relish the thought. In fact, I don't relish the thought of using such a damaged person as a scapegoat at all, but there are needs we must meet. There are actions we must take in order to survive.
If this is
Whether
to
we like
be,
them or not.
if this is to be Canley, then there is only one outcome. Either we live or they do.
And
We
so
have-
we ensure that we will live.
Yes, and we have a very interesting hostage to begin this.
Do you think that they care enough about her, though? I mean, she's been missing for this amount of time. I mean...
I'm not certain. Something broke this woman. And I have no idea what. I would like to know, truthfully, what turned a lovely young woman into this crazed thing. But that desire to know is secondary to what I know that we may need to do. But you have a point. They may not care. And that is all the more tragic, I think.
Maybe you should be the one then to speak to her. I do not know if there was a way to connect with her on that emotional level that would be beyond what I'd be able to impersonate.
I understand.
If you want me to be brutally honest, the conversation of emotions might need to be taken, and then a swap might need to be made between Cassandra and yourself, Theron, for the actual interrogation of information and those particular items. A truth-seer having a conversation about emotions isn't going to do anything, but a truth-seer may dislike us getting her personal house codes or things of that nature going into this situation. So it might be as simple as Lady Cassandra walks out to retrieve water after a very emotional conversation you overhear. You return with the water and begin asking the more poignant questions of importance for the house. A simple swap might be in order.
I agree. My concern is she will not answer questions easily, not unless we found a way to ease her mind and make her more lucid.
Is it madness or is it drug-induced, or do we not know?
I don't think we entirely know that yet.
Our mentat seems to be trying to speak, but
Sorry about that. I was just saying she hasn't been in custody long. We have not had the blood tested yet. We had a hard time just getting her in the room.
I mean, surprised she didn't vomit after she bit Samuel. That man... It's very tough skin.
Is Samuel in the
but-
room with you, Paul?
No.
Okay. Because I
He
was
is
gonna
probably
say,
heading
like,
up other security features.
when you did like briefly see him on your way to this meeting, like he did have like a bandage like wrapped around his hand and like had that look on his face of like, I seen some shit.
Like,
Oh yeah,
crazy
he
nobles
saw
be
the shrine.
crazy, yo.
Yeah,
He gave me crazy nobles be crazy, yo look.
pretty much. Yeah.
There's a whole underlying subtext of crazy nobles be crazy and we be ground pounders, and this is not, we don't get paid enough for this some days. Fair enough. Cool. It makes complete sense. So I guess the universal question is, what order should we try to do this in? Because again, bypassing much of the combat and cutting them off where we stand is probably it's probably going to be the fastest way to deal with this matter without civilian casualties and without an overarching blowback or issue. But we want to be in place when the declaration occurs, that this can happen lightning quick. So much so that myself and Theron may want to be planet-side, and you can just tight beam us the fact that it has started and been authorized.
That's a good plan. Yes.
But
Dr. Kynes. Dr. Kynes did, I believe, say we had presented enough evidence at this point. It depends on when you would like to announce, Lady Cassandra.
Well, let's make sure that everything we intend to do is in place and ready to move at a moment's notice. The ideal goal, of course, is to remove Evanesque from the field. Now, we also need to be prepared to we need to be prepared to step in and fill the vacuum left behind. We can't risk this affecting the production of our goods or theirs. Thus, if
That
we
should
are
not be an
poised,
issue.
no, it shouldn't. But as long as we keep that in mind and are poised to do so, once they're out of the way, then things should go at least fairly smoothly.
Then the intent of the strike should be to decapitate Evanesce's nobility, with you keeping our hostage to sign over complete control of the house's assets and shares the moment after we have eliminated everyone but the heir. And then that is done. Because once we have taken out the head of the house, the heir will assess the power, the heir can then assign over the shares and assets, at which point in time this matter will be resolved and you can do with her as you wish.
Yes. I agree.
We do have the option of calling on potential allies of other minor houses also in the area. Many will have their champions at the fighting in Carthag.
Which I do not disagree with channeling some. The fewer we channel, the fewer shares we'll have to split.
Indeed.
Keep in mind they will want some of the profits.
Agreed.
The question is, can we spin this into making sure the negotiations go smoothly by offering the negotiated houses shares in this particular thing to secure an alliance in its entirety between the three of us?
That is an excellent idea. We may have to have a small discussion with them then.
Mhm. I have already seeded some of the situations with their head of the House of Arms of one of them, but I feel that that's the easiest way to handle the matter. They would be able to go in production. Everything we do would be seen as done in the name of making sure this negotiation went well. It's only splitting the shares 3 ways rather than more than that. And if we're going for a lightning strike, I'm sure they'll both be more amenable to keeping civilian casualties low and increasing their own manpower by a bit. And it also clears them from any blame in the matter of what happened to Shadon, because they helped strike back at his murderer.
Agreed. Of course, we did find more indication of who the actual murderers might be, and unfortunately, I don't think that is an avenue we wish to pursue to its final completion. There was
Very
some
well.
indication that it was the Harkonnens themselves that got rid of our dear Chadan Suk.
It's not surprising. The Harkonnens fight amongst themselves.
No, not remotely surprising. But that is also an answer that the beast will not accept.
Mm-hmm. He will call for our heads rather than heads in his own house. He wants a public display of someone, not necessarily the truth.
Agreed. And he can't exactly easily strike against those in his own house for what they've done. Thus, we must provide an alternative.
Again, I don't disagree.
As long as there are no reservations, milady. I believe that Yevon Esker will serve that purpose quite well if we handle this well. Announcing the information we have, cannily, and striking at the same time. That should serve up the entire house on a platter for the beast. And then he can do with her what he wants.
Yeah. I will say, it is not a prospect I relish.
Did he not directly ask with the head of the murderer?
Is that what happened? I'm sorry, Architect.
Did he?
I would know. I would be able to recite it from memory.
Yes, I believe so. But mostly it was just very clear bloodbath.
It is, but I want to be very exact with the wording to make sure we bring the head.
Yes.
Because it also means they can't be questioned.
That's very smart.
That's fair. That is very smart. Well, I'm all aboard. Alright,
then
I don't like the prospect, but that doesn't mean I am not willing to do it if necessary. And unfortunately, it seems to be very necessary.
It does. Then I believe some meetings need to be arranged. What guards do you want rotated? Because we will need to keep the area very secure for what we're about to do. We do not want to see we do not want to see people here having 2 Cassandras walking about.
Yes, agreed.
Are we still planning to have Theron speak to
Illyria?
Illyria?
We wish Theron to do the less emotional, I need your security codes, I need all of these information about your house and family. All the things that would make this lightning strike of Conley go much quicker should be handled by Theron and not by Cassandra herself. Because if it is called into question by the Truth Seeker that we have gathered this information before the Conley was declared, Cassandra can truthfully answer that she did no such thing.
As few individuals know about this as possible, I would say that if there must be more guards than yourself, only those you trust most implicitly.
I can have Samuel and my men-at-arms secure the area, and I will keep their number down to a minimum, considering they're an asset on my sheet. They cannot betray me. So that can be done, and I will have them secure the area around the prisoner, and we can begin the interview and interrogation, I believe, at which point in time it needs to be done. So in character, I'll have my men-at-arms position. I'll have Samuel set up his situation. Theron will know the best time to do the change that Theron needs to do. We do want to make sure that Cassandra has effectively a matching outfit so that this change looks very natural. And I will leave it to them to go from there. As a side note and roleplay effect, do we just want Allie to answer questions when Allie is Theron? Because that'll be easier rather than NPC on NPC talking.
Well, so what I was gonna say is we can do it one of two ways, which is basically that, again, for the first part, I want Allie to do roleplay, and then, you guys, if you want to be on communication beats, you can feed her stuff and have commentary. Awesome. I was thinking the second one can either go one of two ways, which is, again, either Allie can ask questions, the straightforward stuff, or it can just be a hand wave that, depending on how good of a job the first part goes, how great the information you may or may not get from the second.
Sure.
So it's up to you if you want it to be more roleplay or just list.
Well, I know there's some other stuff we were wanting to get to as well, so I don't want to bog us down a little too much. So I'm totally okay having it Cassandra swaps out, and then we just kind of have Theron as Cassandra step out later and be like, "Hey, this is what I got."
Yeah.
All right.
We're definitely putting Theron on headset as well. Theron gets to be. Yes. We're definitely giving Theron a beat too. It's not that.
Aw, they're a part of a team. Yep. They're so happy.
Well, they're much more trusted than our previous person that was on our team, because the spice must flow.
Specifically, give her the doctor's bead like that.
Yeah, I would. I'm spiteful.
Oh, he doesn't need it right now.
Brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Brutal. Wow.
We love you, Mark.
Mark.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. We heart you, Mark. You're missed. You're missed.
Oh my god. All right.
But we run on salt here.
So when you guys had left Illyria Evanesque, you had placed her in a room, I imagine a nice enough room befitting of one of Noble Station. Yeah. She had been cleaned and dressed into clothing befitting her station. And basically, what you see when you enter the room is that she seems to have stripped all of the sheets and blankets and stuff off of the bed and sort of made herself kind of like a nest under it, as if she was trying to hide. But when she hears the door open, she quickly scrambles out because, can you roll me a let me see. Please roll me a let's say it's a oh wait, you have that hyper awareness thing, or that one talent that gives you the so your
passive scrutiny.
Your passive scrutiny reveals that basically you get the feeling the reason she scrambled out so quickly is because she's memorized the sound of your particular footfalls.
I hate everything about this.
I love you.
I love it.
So she scrambles out quickly. Her dress is wrinkled, and her hair is askew, and her eyes seem even more red and sunken in from just not having good sleep, if she sleeps at all. But she still has that same like huge smile of looking at you like you are some sort of ethereal figure presented to her for salvation. And she does her best to sort of smooth out her outfit a bit, and sort of just nervously like tries to mess with her hair before just kind of being like, whatever, like that's not gonna work. But yeah, she just sort of very eagerly looks at you, up at you, I should say, because she's small, with those huge eyes of, you came back. I knew you'd come back. I'm so happy. They told me that you wouldn't come back, but I knew you'd be back. You wouldn't leave me, not again.
I wanted to talk to you.
Oh gosh. You do not know how long I have waited to hear those words from you. Oh gosh. And she starts like pinching herself, just like, I can't believe this is real. This is real. This is real. This is really, really happening, right?
It is real, yes. I had a few questions for you. If you feel calm enough to talk to me.
I can feel anything you want me to feel.
Of course. Please, sit. She'll, there's a table or something. I know we took all the sharp stuff out, but if there's it's a round table.
Yes.
And she'll have her sit, and she'll sit opposite her with the table between them. You remember that you were meant to marry my brother. Do you remember that?
My first failure.
My brother died. That wasn't a failure on your part.
It was what I was supposed to do. And I couldn't do it. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's
because you are here now, so I can fix it.
Nothing that happened was your fault.
No, I mean, again, I obviously, if I had been, I was so, oh my gosh, I didn't know anything. I didn't do I did not work hard enough to earn you, but I have worked so hard now, so that way, you would love me, and I promise you, I can do this now. You don't. I'm worthy of you. I wasn't worthy then, but I swear I have worked so hard. I have done so much. I can do anything for you.
Well, then please, be honest with me. Can you do that for me?
Of course. I can do anything for you.
After my brother died, what happened to you?
Well, and she sort of, very carefully moves, her dress a little, so you can see along her shoulders there are so many scars of just brutal beatings. And she, puts it back up. My father is it's not a kind man, but all of us have our place in the house. We all have jobs, and my job was to get not be a waste, with just not being worthy of finding a match, and I wasn't able to do it the first time, but the second time, but then
Then my father refused.
yeah, and
That had nothing to do with you.
no, it did, because if I was better, if I was smarter, if I was prettier, if I was literally anything else, then maybe you would have loved me, and it would have been fine, and I would have gotten to get away. And she starts to cry.
It's going to be all right.
Yes, because you're here now, which means that you chose me, and we can be together, right?
I know that none of this has been easy for you. Being blamed for things that are outside of your control. How your father behaves. Unconscionable. I'm sorry for what he put you through.
I mean, I'm not, because I'm here now, and this is where I've always wanted to be. Just right here. And she would reach out across the table to lightly touch Cassandra's hand. I've only ever wanted to be by your side.
I understand. She doesn't pull away, but she's not going to engage either. What if No. I'm sorry. It was a lot to hear what had happened to you. I believe
Oh,
I
I'm
need a
so
moment
sorry
myself.
for upsetting you. I didn't mean
It's
to, I swear.
you're fine.
I'm so
No
sorry.
one's going to hurt
Just
you.
please don't accept
No one is going to hurt you. No one's sending you anywhere.
Do you promise?
Yes. Yes, I know. I promise. I'm not going to send you anywhere. Well, she's just kind of at a loss for words for the moment. I am sorry for everything that was done to you, for every hurt, every suffering you've been forced to endure. You didn't deserve any of that.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. I have heard you say this so many times. So many times that it is incredible to be able to hear these words out loud. I do not deserve this. I don't deserve you. I'm so sorry.
We're not done, but I need to step away for a moment. Get something to drink. Is that all right?
Of course. Of course. But you'll come back, right?
Of course. And then she'll get up and cross the door and exit. And only once the door is closed will her expression turn from kind of that soft neutrality to just rage. She is like just she's not even bothering to hide the emotion. She is, the anger is clear on her face. And she'll look at Theron and she'll say, ask her the questions you need, but be gentle. This woman does not deserve any more suffering than she's already been made to endure. And then she'll look at Raul and say, I want her father alive. And then she'll walk out.
That presents a wrinkle, but
I assume Lady Cassandra wants to kill him herself.
understandable.
He will be dead before his head's delivered to Vahn. That's what's important.
We have options we didn't have before now that we know more.
Yeah.
Is there...
The issue is... I'm sorry.
Is there any additional information you would like from
her clearance codes and any other clearance codes she may know. He'll basically go through anything that he might have missed in his stuff, clearance codes that are going to get her through, any strength of any house guards that he didn't shadow or anything like that. It's mostly tactical knowledge.
Sure.
He trusts that Theron can weave this into communication and be like, this will help me help you type situations, that type of stuff. But it's all tactical knowledge that he has faith that Theron can weave into the conversation in a manner that is not awful.
Okay.
Given that Theron managed to get close enough to this random smuggler, knock them out, and kidnap them and bring them here, his faith in Theron's ability to sweet talk their way into a situation and get what they need and get out is fairly high at this point in time.
It's a good take.
Yeah.
So basically they would just nod and pick up the, I assume, prepared glasses of water and head into the thing to continue the discussion if you guys want to continue roleplay.
Sounds good. I mean, we have similar options. It is very clear that Lady Cassandra does not wish to dispose of the lady, which is fine. That is her choice. But the situation we are in is that Lady Cassandra has also positioned herself that she will eventually either have to, what was the old human phrase, fish or cut bait at some point in time with this situation, which is either Lady Cassandra will have to engage in some sort of, possibly take her as a concubine. I don't know.
At the very least, some sort of
open show.
Indeed.
Or it will become a security risk at some point in time.
But she'll need to be
That
very compliant and understand that this is potentially the only way she doesn't, I don't want to say die, but doesn't end up back with her family.
Doesn't end up being,
I suppose is true enough either way.
But yes.
Let's see what Theron gets from us first.
My understanding is more than likely Lady Cassandra will want to kill the man with her own hands, rather than just wish the deed done. Nothing wrong with that. It just... She said alive. He doesn't have to have his limbs attached, so it'll be fine.
Potato.
That's a good point.
Like, you said alive. You didn't say ambulatory. Those are two different words.
You
Good point,
should
though.
also remember that you have Raquel, the smuggler, is still in custody. Should you wish to catch Raul up on that.
Right. Okay, so let's see here from my notes real fast, because... Oh, right, okay. So, apparently the smuggler pirate queen that Theron brought us had information that led us to evidence that Shadon had been skimming spice product and profits.
No! A member of House Harkonnen was skimming spice profits. You speak only lies.
Them as well, actually. It's interesting the information she was happy to give up after certain things happened.
That is fair.
She's the one that clued us in that it was very likely the Harkonnens themselves that had Shadon killed. I believe.
It's not surprising.
She said it could have been anybody. But
if Shadon was in a position where he was compromised and skimming too much for the Harkonnens' wants, then it is not surprising that he was taken out here, because that would give the beast someone to point their anger at, and then we would be simply removed from the equation. But yes.
It does, however, raise the question of where are all these spice stores?
I assume the smuggler knows where some of them are, and Theron might know where some other ones are by, not necessarily on purpose, but just because Theron was in Shadon's employ for a minute. So, those are possibilities. But the question is, do we want to look into Shadon's spice stores now or after the Conley? Because keep in mind, we will, in theory, inherit Evanescence's spice stores, which will allow us to at least buffer for a while with the increased need of productivity. And given that it looks like there'll be very little material damage if we do this properly, it looks like we're set to inherit a very large amount of the house's productivity and wealth. If it goes off well.
My question becomes, can we trust her to keep her mouth shut when we inevitably have to let her go? She is of noble birth, and this is not a Conley situation.
Who?
Raquel.
But she's a smuggler, correct?
And she is. You would think some degree of subtlety would be impressed there, but...
So why are we having to let Raquel go?
Do you want to deal with the potential of her family coming after us if they find out that we were the ones that killed her?
I'm fairly sure Raquel, to increase her loyalty and show her loyalty to the Harkonnens, will accompany us on this Conley exercise, and if she were to happen to fall in battle while we were sieging the house, the battle settles itself.
You haven't met her yet.
I've seen her, but you're right, I have not met her.
Perhaps you should.
This will be interesting then.
I'll go with him, but...
Okay. Well, for right now, we're going to cut away because obviously Cassandra has had some emotional turmoil. And during, after you guys had received the message from Raban, it was a shuttle that had the Cassandra's mentor, an older woman who is God. Are revered mothers? Is that the no? Because it's Mother Superior. That's the head of the full order, right? And revered
Reverend mothers
just
are
like,
just the ones that have.
okay, cool.
They've just the ones that are have undergone the
Okay.
the process of
Awesome. So the Reverend Mother that was a part of your household that was basically in as much of a mentor to you as a that sort of grandmotherly figure, like because your own mom was so often out of it. She had come up, her body was a bit broken from what obviously looked like that struggle, but she, under the care of the doctor and Shanti, she was able, she's a bit more recovered now and has been just spending some time in quiet solitude in her own quarters. When you find her, she is sort of just in that meditative state and opens her eyes to look at you and, smiles that all too familiar smile of just, come to me. I see, like that, just that welcoming, everything is going to be okay. There seems to, you don't know necessarily if it is just simply that she's that much of a master of herself, that she exudes that calming sort of aura, or if it is just that she is that simply just that warm and caring kind of person. Come to me, child.
Thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt. And she'll come over and she'll take a seat. Just kind of cross her legs and sit down and try to relax as much as she can. I mean, she's able to physically relax herself, but then there's still the mind.
Now. Night is still... We both know you have a lot of work to do, my dear. So out with it. Because I'm old, and at this point, I can't afford to give up what little sleep I'll be able to get.
Of course. Of course. There has been... there has been a lot going on. I'm enduring it as best I can, but even as I am able to calm the rest of me, I find my mind in turmoil.
I definitely sense confusion and turmoil within your thoughts. I know you well enough to know that you have mastered both of these things long ago. So it must be something very severe that has brought you to me.
Yes. Well. And she'll kind of consider her words for a few moments. I admit the situation with my mother, it has made it difficult for me to find my center again.
That is... You and I both know that the order we serve, it serves a higher purpose. Everything we do in these moments in this lifetime, it is all fleeting. And while it is tragic that your mother has been taken from you, and while much in the same way that I imagine you feel, it hurt me more than they physically hurt my body, as I watched her be taken from our household. But that said, you and I both know that your mother died when your brother did.
I know.
What walks
She
around
poured
is a
everything
shell.
Yes. She poured everything that she was into him. And perhaps you're right. Perhaps I'm remaining loyal to what is little more than an ambulatory corpse.
All these games that the houses play within the Landesrad is inconsequential to our own desires to create the Messiah. Things will change, things will become we can finally see what freedom outside these games are. But I understand that you are mired in them. They shape the decisions that you make, the connections, the things that you prioritize. I understand that you once wished also for a path outside of that. Does that still hold true to you?
To some extent, yes. But I see no other way forward.
That is
My
because your
house
sight is
has-
limited. You see what is in front of you. You do not see the possibilities.
I'm all that my house has. But what other possibilities are there?
She gets up and moves towards the viewport where you can see the planet Arrakis just hanging still in space like a golden marble. Arrakis is on the brink of a shift. You can see it in the way that some of the rats are beginning to flee the ship. You can see it in the ways that maneuvers are becoming more overt, more deadly.
They are.
Things
It does seem that things have become far more tense, far more bloody than they once were.
we are witnessing I believe it is the death of the old. These are the opening salvos, spasms, the tremors of a diseased body that is finally having its fate catch up to it. You can take yourself outside of it. Give up these trappings of the material and take on a higher role within our order instead of being a pawn to be used throughout everything else. You could be one of us who shapes the board, who watches the pieces as they move about it and guides them to their final destinations. That is true power, my dear. This, and she gestures around the ship, this is the illusion of it.
I was not aware that was even a path open to me. But what would even become of
Do
my
you not-
house?
Does it matter?
She's just kind of at a loss for words at that. I've worked very hard to balance the requirements of the order with my responsibilities. Giving that up is not easy.
You have walked a fine line, my dear, that is true. But you always knew that the time would come when the paths would diverge, and you would be forced to choose. And she would sort of walk back towards her and give a smile and just sort of like do that like grandmotherly pat on the cheek. But I have been with you since you were still toddling about and running into things. You are as much my daughter as you are your mother's. So whatever it is you choose, I will support you. Just know that there is a choice, and those choices will have ripples, regardless of which one you settle on.
I understand. I will need time.
This is not something that has to be decided right now. Again, I'm old. I can only get so much sleep.
Of course. Thank you.
No, you should not be thanking me. You came here seeking comfort, and instead I have added more wrinkles.
They do have to come from somewhere, don't they?
This pretty face of yours is going to make someone very happy one day.
One can only hope. Well, I will let you return to your rest.
I am
She'll
here for you.
get up and be well, Celestine. And then she'll depart.
All right. So I think we're gonna take our brief break here, so everybody can stretch, use the restroom, get more liquids should they desire them. Again, you know, water is precious. Shake down your nearby water cellar. And we will also be having a poll for all of our audience members to vote on. Basically, if you have enjoyed the roleplay so far, please nominate one of our players for your favorite, bit of roleplay that you've seen. The person who wins the poll gets an extra advancement point. AP is the currency that players can buy upgrades to their sheets, either with talents or additional assets. Really cool stuff. So this is the way that you guys get to contribute to character growth and advancement. So yeah. With that, I guess let's commence with the flow, as we're gonna be out for a brief break. Flow.
Has this worked yet?
Arrakis. DUNE. A planet that is both a volatile desert wasteland and the most precious jewel in the universe. For it is only on Arrakis where the spice melange can be found. The spice has shaped humanity for a millennia, and it is the foundation that makes interstellar travel possible. Fortunes rise and fall as quickly as the sands shift on Arrakis. It is a place where a smile and a quiet word can cut as easily as a crisp knife, and nothing is what it seems. Welcome to DUNE.
The whole time.
The horn does not exist.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you again for those of you joining us now. We are playing the incredible DUNE Adventures in the Imperium by Modifius Entertainment. It's using their sweet 2D20 system. Oh my gosh. So a lot happened in the first half of our game. We had the discussion about some strategizing on what to do with this rival house, as well as a very intense scene with the what do you call it? With the hostage that they have, Illyria Evanesque. Let's see. Okay. Let me see. Okay. But yeah, so basically, when you guys get back, I believe that you'd wanted to talk to that Zev and Raul were heading to interrogate Raquel.
Yeah, as Raul has not yet met her.
I have not met her, so we're going to deal with that, and then it gets on the negotiation clock for the upcoming situation.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Okay, so how are we finding her at this point? Because it's only, I think, the next day?
Yeah. So basically, I think she's still in that perfectly sterile looking room, right? Like that's where you guys had put her. Because I believe you had said like you didn't want to move her or change anything up, right?
The one with the drain in the floor.
Oh my god.
Oh,
So
we're
yeah,
in drain room. Okay.
So basically, she, she's way more lucid now that the drugs have worn off, but kind of has that, like she looks kind of hungover, so like she's probably sitting on her cot, leaning her back against the wall, like just sort of nursing a headache, and for Paul, this character, she has the facial features of being, that sort of nobly born aristocrat or whatever, but her skin is tanned from being out in the deserts of Arrakis. She has, like, her hands show that she's obviously used to hard work. Her hair is braided partially to create that sort of side shave kind of thing, and is just very wild and unkempt. Her outfit is a collection of just random things that, again, one would imagine are make it useful for the trade that she's in. So as far away from being a nice girl as one could imagine at this point. And she does not stand when you guys come in and just kind of like regards both of you suspiciously.
I smirk, because that's a great first impression.
I'll have Zev sit down at the chair that they were in before. That probably is still in the room. Just outside of where she can actually reach.
She gives a sort of bemused look with the care to being out of reach.
About our conversation yesterday. I have a proposal that could benefit both of us, given that you were more or less quite cooperative. And I appreciate that.
Except that the last time we had a proposal and our arrangement, everything like that, you guys still did not carry through with your end of the arrangement. So please forgive me if I'm a bit suspicious again of what all is happening.
I'm sorry, just briefly out of character. It's been a week.
Yes.
I'm tired. What did we promise her?
No. Basically, like, she, pretty much that, if I remember correctly, it was basically just along the lines of like, hey, you're giving us this information because otherwise we'll torture you and do terrible things, but we'll let you go, and that kind of thing. And she was just like, yeah, I can be really useful, I can give you stuff.
That's right.
And you guys said you'd be down for that and blah blah blah, but instead we're like, we're leaving you here in this room.
Well, it's only been a
be
day.
fair, it's been a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's fair. But again, she's being a catty bitch.
Well,
also, this is the creepy room and not a nice room. So, if you're left in the creepy room for a day after, like, giving away useful, like, some of your marketing chips, that's a bit suspicious.
It's not that creepy. That's comfortable. It's just not, luxurious. This isn't one of the what are they called? The little awful cells we have, and it's certainly not one of Raul's airlocks. This is a room. It's just not a fancy room. But yes, I am still sitting outside of her range.
It's not something she's accustomed to. Her lifestyle is being questioned at this point in time.
That's true. My proposal still is this. We've only had you here for a couple, 3 or 4 days now. You've been fed. You have not really been, shall we say, abused, and I apologize for the things I said to you yesterday. You have to understand that when I'm given a job, I make sure it gets done. But you indicated. Go ahead.
I've dealt with other mentats before. I know how you guys operate. But those drugs, though, whatever your doctor decided to put into my system, that isn't great. I am still, I am still seeing colors that I did not realize were a part of the spectrum, and I would like to not, because I have work to do.
I can make sure that's taken care of.
Thank you.
Shanti drugged her?
No. Well, we'll talk about that later.
Oh, a doctor. Let's be real. We'll be very precise about our language. A doctor. gave you drugs. That
When
doctor
last we
is not
spoke.
currently employed here.
Well, no. Well, like I said, we'll talk about this later.
So
Yes.
no, she doesn't have anything to say other than Justice doing that, like.
He's been away from the ship for a few days.
I just got back and they told me I needed to meet you.
The premise of my proposition is that yesterday you volunteered that you were aware of a number of spice catches Chidan had hidden. I'll be honest with you. We are not at all interested in those, and if you would like, they can all belong to you in exchange for your silence. And of course, a ride out of here.
You will forgive me if that sounds a bit too good to be true. You don't have
Trying to think of
any
something.
interest.
It's not a matter of interest. Everybody's interested in spice. But the fact is that we do not lack for spice. What we need is your cooperation. And that is worth whatever spice that Chidan has locked away to us, because he doesn't need it anymore.
Okay. So apart from the information I gave you, what is it that you need from me?
The information you supplied us with yesterday was very helpful.
Of course.
I don't believe at this point we need anything further. And I'm simply trying to... Okay, I'm sorry.
Time. You made the comment that you've been here. We will accommodate you with better conditions and some more time to get other things in order. You clearly want to get back to business very quickly, according to your statement. We feel that the spice caches make up for the business you're currently losing. A way to contact you in the future, and the time, it'll also cover the time where you compensated that you will be needed to stay here till we can arrange all the things to make sure your situation is taken care of.
Which should only take a few days, but you will be moved to much nicer rooms.
Well, thank you. As for my silence, you can rest assured that that will be... I know you do not know me or have reason to believe me, but that creature you kept was able to sneak into my encampment and hogtie me to deliver you here, and that is an experience I do not wish to repeat.
Fair enough.
I don't think you'll have to worry about that again. The information that we needed, you have provided. And we apologize for the inconvenience.
Again, why a way to contact you in the future will be much more useful.
She kind of like looks at both of you and writes down basically an address for like a drop point for where you can like drop like film wires or whatever. This gets checked regularly. Tends to be
fair enough.
There's also a bar in Carthag. The Suxteat. There's
No, just we two
Shelley.
ships passing in the night.
Shelley runs business for a few of my people. But you guys are drawing a lot of attention to yourselves. And those people tend to notice that. So
There's a lot of attention to go around right now.
when fortunes shift in the Lansrod, I would hope that you wouldn't need my services, but it is always good to have somebody with fast ships available.
Depends on what fortune you seek in Lansrod right now.
Is there any
We have an
other
agreement?
plan in survival? I think we do.
Some people say profit. That's a whole other conversation.
But what is the point of spending everything you have to acquire profit? You will not be in a state to reap those rewards.
I don't disagree with you, but I'm not a noble, so I don't know how nobles think.
You think the same as anybody else, just with a higher opinion of themselves. Yes, we do have an agreement. I look forward to having something for this fucking headache and a pillow that actually is remotely anywhere near comfortable.
We'll see to that here shortly. Do you have a preferred type of room you'd like to stay in?
I mean, if I'm being honest, one with many beautiful women in it, but I don't think that's something you can necessarily provide.
I mean, it could be, but not that I have right here.
Right, in that case, I think that's probably all we needed to talk to Raquel about.
Okay.
Am I missing anything?
I don't think so.
I will have Shani come and give her something for the headache sooner rather than later. It's the sneezes. It's the spice sneezes.
It got too spicy. Oh man, that was unexpected. I'm excited.
Oh, what, my solution?
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. So, I guess then, I assume that you guys move her along somewhere else.
Yes, into a much
Okay,
nicer
cool.
room. I make sure that a lot of, she has plenty of food brought to her and clean clothes and whatever she arrived with, except for any weapons that might have been on her person for the time being.
You would have found, interestingly enough, and this is something that she would demand back, but she had a crysknife on her.
Given that I do know what that is, I mean, well, that Zev does know what that is, I would provide that back as long as Raul did not give me too much of a hard time.
Yeah. She wouldn't go into like.
She's not.
Yeah.
She's not leaving her quarters and roaming the ship, so it matters less. No. I just make sure that I just make sure there's a guard posted at the door for when people deliver things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And she would just very much be like, like it's important to me. Like, not to go into detail on why.
She doesn't need to.
Yeah.
And giving it back to her, a sign of trust that we have an agreement and we will both abide by it.
Yep.
She'll get the rest of her stuff back when she leaves.
Yeah. And I will say that the gesture and the offer and deal and everything definitely shifted her from like hostile to friendly.
And that worked
I'm
out.
so mad. What? I just have those? Sure.
Yeah.
We friends now.
Mhm.
So
All is forgiven.
mhm.
Not everything
Hey,
needs to
speaking
be
of being
without an
the-
airlock.
Not everything, just most things. I have a pro airlock agenda. So I believe now it's on to negotiating with the two other houses we have here
Mhm.
for what they might want. So we have, I feel I will be helpful in one of negotiations, and I think Ali is going to handle the other one probably all by their lonesome unless they want help with that negotiation. Or you're going to tell me
Well,
about the
we
doctor,
can-
apparently. Apparently I was gone and something happened. Like,
Oh, yes. He accompanied us the first time we went to speak to her and introduced a number of psychotropic drugs into her system to make her slightly more compliant. She was far more resistant to them than he was expecting, but I made an impression a different way.
well, yeah. It made me chuckle when it said our doctor. I'm going to make it clear to her that if she wishes to employ that doctor and get him off this ship, she is happy to do so. He's free now. He can go where he wants. You know.
So far, that still seems
What?
to be here, and Cassandra
just-
has given him control of the chapel.
Well, you know, Cassandra has followers in many ways, it seems. Like, he's gone from a doctor to a man of religion. I'm happy he reads his Orange Catholic Bible. But yes, I like to make it very clear that when people say that's our doctor, that is not technically correct. Because those are very important things to make technically correct nobles. But no, I believe we still have to speak to our two houses that are still here, and we can hopefully wrap up this negotiation and this fight, and all in one foul swoop.
Awesome. All right. So, to the conference room then, the big hall, or you having a more informal meeting?
I think we should probably meet with them individually and then have a meeting
Okay.
together as total, unless Cassandra disagrees. Because, like, having them
I
both
know,
primed and prepped to accept. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, get the
so-
actual talking out of the way, and then take care of the
Sure.
formality of the big meeting.
Okay. So, who do you want to meet with first, and who is attending this meeting? Dimitri or
Well,
Dahlia?
I don't mind meeting with Dahlia.
Okay. Is it going to be
I can
you by
arrange-
yourself?
Actually, you meet with Dahlia. I will speak to Dimitri's second in command simultaneously. That way, they both. That way, there's not a rumor that we met with one before the other. That the meetings are both arranged through
Okay.
those avenues, so they were both getting information around the same time. So there's some posturing later,
Yeah.
because people like to posture.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
Sounds good. All right. So, please describe where you're having Dahlia meet. Also, is Zev attending either of these meetings, or did you want to meet with Dimitri by yourself?
I'm fine with Zeb
Having
coming with
some-
me to meet with Dimitri. It's
Okay, cool.
probably better because Cassandra's relationship with Dahlia is very interpersonal, and we'll probably
Yes.
go over better that way. And the fact that
Mhm.
our
Yeah.
Mentat is here shows that it's not just a security meeting; that the house is taking it seriously.
Okay.
And we can also play off the Benny Jesuit talking to Benny Jesuit angle, and we're they're talking to you as military attaches and advisors.
Yeah.
Because let's be clear, it's not like the Bene Gesserit are going to volunteer lots of manpower for this job. Like, we might get one or two people with the voice. We're not going to get a battalion.
Yeah. So let's then start with Cassandra and Dahlia. So where are you having her meet? Like, can you describe the situation?
It would probably be one of those kind of comfortable, like, kind of loungy observation rooms. Something that's not too formal, but that's not too personal either.
Yeah, the semi-romantic observation room we've been using. Super good. Yeah, so basically, I imagine Cassandra would be there first, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so Dahlia would come in, and she has shifted to, since the discussion of Conley, she has shifted towards wearing the more, like, military formal dress wear of her house. So, just kind of like that fitted, like, suit style outfit that is likely armored in various ways to, like, prevent those things and everything. She has her shield thing just openly worn just in case, because, again, if we're talking Conley, just expect assassins and everything everywhere, all times. She's survived a lot of stuff. She knows how this works. So, yeah, she would come in and, again, just with that very formal thing. And then when her eyes sweep and she sees it's just Cassandra, her posture would relax a bit, and, more for any listening devices or observers, she would be like, "My lady." And then wait for Cassandra to gesture her forward.
Lady Adder, please sit. And there's tea, like there's like a little setup with like tea and snacks. You know how it goes. It's comfortable.
A little charcuterie board.
Yeah.
Right.
Some of those finger sandwiches. Oh man.
Thank you for coming to see me.
Of course, my lady. Again, there is not a point where I would not answer your call. Nor do I wish to start now.
Well, it certainly is appreciated. But I fear there are, as you know, matters of import that I do believe needs be discussed. In particular, considering the matter of Conley that has recently been put into motion. It is clear that all three houses aboard this ship are in a dire position. And I believe it is through working together that we will be able to weather this ordeal and come out the better for it.
Agreed. I believe that we have our liege is one who takes even the slightest perception of inadequacy or failure to be something deserving of total seizure.
And truly, I think he may be the bloodiest governor that Arrakis has seen in the entire existence of my house. So, please rest assured that as much as I would rather not deal with a lot of I recognize that personal feelings must be put aside for the survival of not only my house, but yours as well. I would like to see, however, if you were still inclined, after all this is over, of joining our houses.
Well, it is my hope that with the actions that we take here and the benefit that we all stand to receive from what it is we are engaging in, that the matter between your house and House Vesperis will be at least more completely resolved. That is my hope. And if that is the case, I could understandably be amenable to that. I can make no agreements at this moment, but I'm certainly not, revisiting it is certainly not off the table.
I would like I would like a sum of Solaris from Dimitri to account for the loss of the harvester that we their convenient but unfortunate accident with the carryall caused to be lost. See, I can learn. I can get there. Aren't you proud of me?
Quite.
I think that I would like to see that I would like to see in remembrance of Osprey that Dimitri take 3% of his house's profits and use it to give water to the civilian populace around his holdings. Because I think that is something that, as much as I may wish for blood, Vanderon was a good man. And he would not.
I can certainly see to it that that desire is communicated. But
Gosh.
also, it is not obviously, should House Adder choose to assist us in this endeavor, they will reap a share of the reward.
I appreciate that, Cassandra. I imagine dismantling Evanesque has been something you have desired for at least a few years.
Truthfully, I pity them.
But why? After what they've done to you?
Because hatred requires far more effort, and they're not worth even that.
Spoken like a true sister. We can provide whatever ground transports you need to get your people in and out of there easily. We do not have a strong infantry, or we do not have a large infantry, but many of our troops have had to receive training to fend off from an attacks, so they are formative.
Of course. Well, what assistance you can provide certainly would be appreciated. And quite appreciated.
Well, I mean, this is, I wouldn't let you fight alone. I'm not... Politics haven't made me that heartless yet.
I know that it can be difficult to hold on to that level of compassion in the spheres that we walk in.
It's because so often that compassion will get you killed.
Yes, that's true. But, and she'll kind of pause for a moment and kind of gather her thoughts before kind of expressing softening slightly as she says, but all of that aside, how are you doing?
I am grateful for the training that we underwent, because I imagine if I had not, I would not be able to speak in a way that is becoming an heir to my household. We sit on this knife's edge, and with every step it is hard to tell whether or not the axe blade over our throats is getting closer or further away. As much as I enjoy some of the games and watching as I can poke people and determine what courses they take, what their future holds, and is this unknown that just frightens me. But we must not fear, right?
Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death. Anyway, but yes, you're right. I wonder sometimes. Do you ever wonder I suppose, did you ever consider if you had a separate path that you might have taken it?
She leans back, so her back is against the wall, and just kind of thinks for a moment. I suppose there are often many times where I feel like, what if I had taken a different path? What if I had gone a different way? What if, and she looks directly at you, what if I had just run away with the girl under the date tree? But for me at least, Adder and my family is, and Arrakis itself even, it's a part of who I am. Me, with all of the blood and the sand, the violence, the great highs, the great lows, everything we have fought and struggled for, everything we've endured. I can't see myself having any other life than the life that I have. Obviously, I wish that things were different, or that some things were better, or anything to that effect, but I feel it deeply that I am exactly where I am meant to be.
I can understand that. But it is perhaps of little use wasting time pondering hypotheticals. Truthfully,
What brings this up?
Perhaps everything currently has me feeling a little wistful.
It's easy to look at another path and see it as something seductive and appealing because you're not currently walking it. And everything is hard, Cassandra. Everything has its own trials and tribulations. The unknown doesn't necessarily promise better things, just different things.
Certainly. That, I must concede the point there. I admit I had never anticipated walking this path, but my brother's passing rather necessitated it, I suppose. We do as we must.
What do you feel you must do?
And she'll just kind of give this wan smile. She still looks very exhausted, I might add. She's very tired. And she'll just say, survive.
So,
For myself, for Lucinor, survive.
So Dahlia would look at her a moment with sympathy, and then take her by the hand and give her a kiss if she consents. With
She does.
just simply saying, after their lips part, hopefully when this is over, we can learn to do more than survive, and we'll get to live.
Hopefully. Well, I think that's all I got. That feels like a good place to cut.
So I'm gonna say that we next take it to the dojo space, right? The combat training area.
Well, if they're meeting with Dimitri, he'll actually have them meet. Not his. If the meeting can be set up with just Dimitri and him, he'll meet in the dojo area to set up the meeting. But that seems like a super brief thing where he's like, "Listen, I want to meet with the head of your house. I'll take the men's hat with me. We're going to discuss the upcoming situation involving not Vesperus, the arrival house, which fell into my head again all of a sudden.
Evanesque.
The decision of Evanesque and how it can be used to resolve most of the issues here. That's a really short thing. I don't think we need a full scene that, because unless Dimitri's like, I'm not going to meet with these people, which I'm feeling he's going to, because
Yeah, he's fine.
We're going to take it back to the war room. The used to be party room. Now it's the war room, because that seems like a place that they would appreciate meeting in more than anywhere else.
Yeah. Sure.
Right.
So yeah, basically it's kind of much like Dahlia. Dimitri is also in the more military uniform of his house, just again in preparation for the situation at hand. He has a, what is probably like a ceremonial looking blade. Again, it's a blade of his house. It looks very nice and goes very well with this outfit. But Raul, with your hyper awareness, know again that he, even as despite it being this ceremonial sort of gesture for appearance's sake, this man knows how to use that thing. And
actually, for my passive scrutiny, because I don't get hyper awareness, I'm not a Benny Jesuit. I'm not that awesome.
Sorry, that's
passive scrutiny is what you're. Yes, before my passive scrutiny.
Mixed up. I feel really dumb.
You're totally fine.
Time I mix it up.
We know which one you mean.
We know which one you mean. I just wanted to be clear that all of a sudden people didn't think I was Benny Jesuit trained guy over here. I'm like, I am not the Quaz Exeter. It's fine. This is not happening. I don't have any cool Benny Jesuit powers. But for my passive scrutiny, I would like to know, double check on because they were going to make a deal with our rival house for machine parts. What is the machine area that would be the most beneficial for me to offer them to help them in this alliance? Because I know they wanted some manufacturing stuff, and as we are divvying up things, is there going to be overlap between things we want and they want machine parts wise? But if I give them X production facility and we take Y production facility, is it not really going to matter?
It is definitely, so basically they want the I would say that, especially with how much research you put into everything, that basically that They are a house that, again, specialized in the aerial support for spice harvesting, specifically with the carryalls and the spotters. So stuff related to maintenance, upgrades, etc. for those things. In particular, I imagine they would be, they would probably have been working with Evanescence to develop like a better pulley system for the carryalls to be, lifting up the harvesters.
And we're not interested
that
in
was
that. Our house,
Yeah.
and our house is not interested in that at all. So that's a really good offer for them that I can make during the course. That's what I wanted to use my passive scrutiny for. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Bargaining chips. All right.
And then I was gonna say Rand the Blade Master just kind of like follows as his human shadow, but you know how that is.
I do the job. I thank him for meeting with us. Extend things. I inform him I've spoken with his Blade Master. I don't make assumptions, but I give a very brief overview of the Conley situation upcoming with M&S, and then I ask him, as we are all in this dire situation together, and we do not wish to be in the eyes of Vahn for any longer than we need to be. Facilitating some of their forces to deal with this matter in a quick and expedient manner that will help bring profit to them and hopefully settle the negotiations here would be in everyone's best interest.
Agreed. I know that I also am someone who doesn't like to have daggers in my back while I'm staring down the throat of a beast.
Hopefully, with the other matter being resolved, we can all come to the table here shortly and resolve your matter and make a more formal alliance to help deal with this matter of Conley. But if you would be assistants of our house, we would be happy to make it very beneficial and profitable for you to assist us in this matter.
What does that look like to you?
It has come to our attention that Evanes's issues involving spotters and other transportation will be on the market if this matter is resolved, and it would be much more welcome home inside of your house's reserves.
That definitely would be useful. What would you need from us?
So, our house is known for protection. This matter will be resolved quickly and efficiently, but they do have like a couple strike forces, don't they? They have small, like given Rand and the way he operates, they have some small units that that are used for sieging. So basically they have, they can provide air support. They have their own little house militia thing. Basically the air support and their breaching specialists are what we need. We need air supports and breaching specialists because we're defensive. We're a defensive bodyguard house, which means we do not have specialist breachers, which is what we will need for this job. So basically, specialist breaching units and Thopter support, and then of course the willingness to come to the table in a few hours to discuss this matter and finalize, their negotiation for everyone's benefit. Is there anything you wish for House Adder? Of House Adder on the matter? That way, I can bring that to Cassandra, and we can make sure that they're not fighting each other, and this is becoming an issue.
What I want is legitimacy to be recognized as an Iraqi house, in as much as we were a house from Gidi Prime. I want to put the past aside and have her, when she speaks the name of my household, to speak it with the respect of a peer that is valued,
because that will just help business in general.
Very
The
well.
annoying thing has been having her poison my name to the other minor houses that are native. And I would truly like to make this work. It is not
Very well.
often that you get to have a new path for yourself, and I have done things that I am not proud of to get here, and I would like for those to be the last things that I would have to do.
Very well. I will translate this to Lady Cassandra, and in a few hours we shall all meet at the table once again, and hopefully have this matter resolved, and then prepare for a quick and hopefully very profitable situation involving
Agreed.
Evanes's demise.
I imagine too, with the defeat of your rival, that you would like potentially gain the ability to rise in social status to be one of the major houses on this planet. So would also like to have a percentage of Chome shares in the ballpark of 8% for if I need to concede points and be more smooth with all of this.
I will make the lady aware. I cannot clearly promise those, as my station does not allow me to. But given in a few hours, this matter should be resolved. Hopefully we can all come to the table. I will speak to the Lady Cassandra, and I'll let it know, like, we're gonna have dinner. We're all gonna have dinner, and we're gonna make this work.
Yep.
And then I'm
get shit
gonna go
done.
Yep. Then I'm going to go to Lady Cassandra and be like, this is actually not that big of a deal. He wants 8%, some 8% Chome shares and some other stuff. Like, this is all stuff that once we dismantle FNS is very easy for us to pass out, at least on our side with them. What do you have from...
And she will, relay what Adder asked for, which, again, fairly simple.
Doesn't seem unreasonable.
Yeah, it doesn't seem unreasonable. It's all fairly above board and pretty standard. So, she's comfortable agreeing to what they can agree to on their end. It's a matter of getting them to see eye to eye.
I have a suggestion.
I will state... Go ahead.
So Visperus wants the transport specialists from Evanesque. Adar would have use for the machine shop and the harvester engineers. If we offer them the 2 pieces of the Evanesque industry, which do not really concern Lucinor, that is a step in the right direction. But he says 8%. I would recommend offering each of them 10. Offer each of them the same 10% of Evanesque's Chome shares. An additional 80% remains on top of that, all going to Lucinor and the stewardship of what remains of Evanesque in the form of Illyria.
This is true. I would also recommend that if she's resistant about adding them a legitimacy, that we will add our voice for legitimacy after this matter. And
Dimitri was, or it was Dimitri that was talking. Was it Dimitri that was talking about social status?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And Dimitri is right. We will be putting our necks out there by doing this. Because with their support and the absorption of Evanesque, we would not be far from just their support as nascent houses for Lucinor to become a major house within the Landsrat. The Harkonnen may not appreciate this.
Indeed.
I don't
They
think
cannot
either one
deny
of those
us, can they?
houses. The thing is, I don't think either one of those houses is very happy with the position of the Harkonnen in general right now. Or at least
Who
their
is?
fealty to them. Some people making incredible amounts of profit.
I think they all have the same last name, unfortunately.
They do, but after that change happens, we would be in the ability. We'd have the ability to possibly, if we're moving into the position of being a major house, have Adder and Vesperus swear to us, which would get them out from under the Harkonnens and give them legitimacy and peace in the matter. It just will put us in the eyes of the Harkonnens, at which point in time we will need to find some allies rather quickly.
Agreed.
It might not be as hard as you think. The Harkonnen are not popular.
But they are brutal.
They are brutal, but house-
Jen, as a meta question, has the rumblings of the Atreides getting
yes.
stuff started or not? Okay.
Yes. At
Um,
this point, Duke Leto is very highly regarded and considered, to be sort of a rising person in the Landsraad, something that I imagine you guys have felt the ripple effects from when he's had particular political victories or whatever, having it be sort of taken out on everybody on Arrakis, because and it is just kind of that buzz of people saying that he is favored by the Emperor and everything like that. What could this all mean? There's lots of speculation.
Nothing bad could happen to the Atreides. It would be weird.
no,
Right.
no.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
For now.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. We might want to, after the approbation with House Evidence is wrapped, we may wish to send out some feelers to House Atreides or some of the other, houses that are at odds with the Harkonnen.
As just a point of interest, where is House Lucinor based? Where is Cassandra's father right now?
I was gonna
Probably
say
Arakeen.
your house is based on Arakeen. He is off-world
Oh,
right
okay.
now, attending some sort of political summit of something. So, hand-wavy, he's over there somewhere doing, super important, CHOAM negotiations or whatever.
They're clearly way more important than this, giant thing we're doing.
Yeah. I mean, it was just supposed to be two rival houses, how could things go wrong?
They didn't go wrong. They went so right.
Aw, yeah.
If we play it right, yes.
All right. So, I believe it's dinner time. What are we having for dinner, by the way? Does anybody know?
Ooh.
God, I can't even answer that in real life.
That is the
Probably
best
like-
response.
Some sort of spiced boar. I'm just picturing those Game of Thrones feasts, with just here is your elegantly dressed rack of meat. Here are, here's your dish of mysterious purple things. Here's your dish.
Purple things.
I was drinking.
I want extra purple things.
Here is the standard dish of wiggling things, because you always gotta have those in these sorts of series. Like
You got the gray stuff from Beauty and the Beast. You know how it goes. Like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, exactly. There's
But if
like
the silverware
16
starts
courses to this
singing-
meal.
If any of the furniture or silverware starts singing, we have to immediately kill it because they're clearly thinking machines.
Yes, entirely. That's how that works.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to tell you
Alright.
right now, if somebody actually donates for that to happen, I'm leaving the game. We don't need
X
mimics.
out.
Spend
X
my
out
points
immediately.
of threat.
Anyway,
You
it's
sit on
dinner
a
time.
chair. The chair goes, why?
It's a living.
Oh my god. Anyway.
All right.
Alright.
It's dinner time.
So I assume it's going to be the same sort of seating arrangement where you have Cass at the front of the table with the two houses on left and right, and then attendants and every attaches going downwards, or are people chilling out behind Cass? Like, I don't know if Zev wants to be standing, like Zev and Raul want to be standing while,
I will
everybody's
remain
eating, or-
standing as I did last time, because
Mhm.
I'm not a noble, so I will not. I will not sit. That's my thing. So I will remain standing as I did last time.
I believe I sat last time. I don't think it matters.
You totally
It
did.
doesn't super matter other than,
Yeah.
how you want to be facing people.
Sure. For Zev's personal comfort, yeah, they're sitting.
Okay, cool. So all right. So you guys are eating. The food is incredible. There's a lot of it. You could easily feed a small siege with just the contents of this table. I guess take it away when you feel like bringing things up.
All right. At the right moment in the meal, Cassandra will signal that she's going to speak. In whatever the appropriate way for here would be. I don't know. I feel like the tinking the glass is a bit cliche, but yeah. She would make a signal, and
I would just have all the guards snap to attention when you wanted to speak, because
Mhm.
that's the thing we did the
That
last time.
works.
To a
The
degree.
sound of boots.
Mm-hmm.
we all stand on the precipice. What lies before us is the potentiality for great fortune and a better future, or absolute destruction. It is only together that we will weather this storm. With that in mind, and she'll look to her advisors, to Raul, to Zev. With that in mind, we have made overtures, and I believe have come to some measure of an accord. And then she'll detail what has been at least offered, between the two sides to resolve things. Now, I personally find these terms reasonable. On top of that, for your assistance in this endeavor, we would like to offer each of you, each house, 10% of the Chome shares at stake.
Can you please make me communicate roll. Let's set the difficulty at 2 because this is a good offer. But you still have people who have to do things for appearance's sake. You should still have some of your starting momentum as a note. And again, you can always buy more dice with giving me threat.
We don't start with momentum. I mean, if you want to get the 3 for the 0... Oh, we do? Sweet.
Yeah, we each start with 1, so...
Ah, nice.
I will say that I used mine in private, so there are 2 remaining.
Okay. Well, I will use 1. I have diplomacy as a focus. And I think here I will use... Power. I feel like power is the most fitting.
I like that.
Ooh,
that's good.
Ooh. Also,
I agree.
I would like to. Would you like to use the other momentum because you can't buy the dice with that momentum? So let's use the momentum to put the trait sensible to the room as well.
I like this.
So you get that bonus as well for lowering the difficulty from 2 to 1.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Okay, so 2 momentum spends.
Ooh. Yes. I would also like to... under power, I have the statement, power is a double-edged blade. It shields as easily as it invites ruin. And I would like to...
that would... You do that for
give
a
you the
reroll.
determination?
Do that for a reroll?
Yeah, you do that for a reroll if it goes bad.
Okay, I'll hold on to that for now.
Right now you get to roll 3 dice at a difficulty 1.
Yeah. Do it.
Power.
See it.
3 dice. Using the focus.
Ooh, look at that! And a crit
That's
success.
3.
Nice.
Yeah.
Or just 3.
That's
Excellent.
3, which means
okay,
we get
so you
2
gain
momentum back.
2 momentum back, yeah. So we get back the
I'll keep
momentum we
track of it.
spent.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, and basically it's one of those things where, like, as you're speaking and presenting stuff, like, you know, Dimitri makes like a frown, like, you know, that I have to, like, cut into my profits to do this, you know, gesture for charity, like, but
Charity.
like, but he, like, keeps his, you know, he doesn't voice the like, he doesn't voice the mood. Is just kind of like, because again, Cassandra is coming off just that compelling and commanding during this thing, and the same thing with, you know, Dahlia when the gesture is made that, you know, she needs to speak of him in a positive light. Like, she gives that kind of, like, the actual fine. So, you know, just again, like Cassandra is very much owning this room right now, and both of them are eating out of her hand. So yeah, they're definitely friendly towards House Lucinor, and y'all got some sweet assets out of these minor houses. So yeah, well done, friends. Hell yeah.
Once things, you know, if things seem to be going, things seem to kind of resolve positively, she'll kind of, you know, wrap up whatever speech she's making, and allow dinner to resume, essentially. But she's definitely, at least, her mind is at least a little bit eased.
Yeah, and you know, it is a thing where there are a couple moments where, you know, Dahlia sort of like looks across the table at Dimitri and, you know, says like, I was wrong about my assessment of your character. And like those very like carefully worded, like, I am trying, I am doing my best kind of things.
He seems like the
and
kind of person that would appreciate that and understand that, though.
yeah, and very much like he does have that look of like slight bemusement of the situation, but like, you know, very respectfully, perhaps like, you know, again, recognizing that this is a baby bird sort of scenario, just does that very cordial, charming, you know, I really, you know, appreciate that we have been able to resolve these things. And yeah, and I imagine too, like Rand kind of gives like Raul a look of just like, you know, marriage still on the table.
Like he gives him a nod back of like, we got to do work first. I'll plan for weddings after I'm done with the stabbings.
Right.
Like, I got to get through this party first. We're doing the dangerous part next.
Exactly. So yeah, so basically, both of the nobles would sort of rise after the meal is completed and everything, and you know, just look to Cassandra with like, okay, let us please keep us appraised of when we will need to be ready in position. In the meantime, we will begin to rally.
Of course. We are finalizing our plans at the moment, but word should come soon.
Both Tharsha and Rand would offer to give both of you guys additional aid and advice on looking over any plans. Basically, I will say Tharsha will give you like a bonus to like a an extra dice if you want to have actions involving move, and Rand would give you an extra bonus if you want actions involving battle.
We will need both of them, so we will deal with that when the time comes.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have anything else tonight, or is it prepare for war in a week?
There's one more thing.
Sweet.
And they're muted. You're
Sorry about that. I had to cough a second
okay.
ago and I forgot to undo it. Before the end of the
okay.
evening, after everybody has gone on to bed and everything, but before Cassandra would be going to sleep, Zev would find their way over to her quarters and knock on the door. Or press the button, however it works in Dune. I don't think we've ever seen anybody use a doorbell, so I don't know.
She would, come in.
I'm sorry to come this late. I just was hoping that you would spare me a moment of your time.
Of course, Zev. What's on your mind?
While there have been unfortunate lapses that have gotten past me, most of what happens on this ship I am aware of. And I know you were able to speak to the Reverend Mother. And using my talents, so to speak. A little bit of deductive reasoning. I'm troubled. Your future is entirely up to you and is your choice. That being said, and you don't have to confirm anything. Probably better if you don't. Should you choose to leave your position with the house, I would ask that before you do, you would release me from my position. I have no wish to work for your father.
I can understand that. Should I make a decision to do such a thing, were that path presented to me, I would, of course, grant your wish.
I appreciate that. Can I ask one more question?
Of course.
What we're about to do could be quite dangerous. Especially in terms of the Harkonnen and their need for control. Should we run up against them and you decide to stay with the house, are you ready to actually rebel against the Harkonnen, if necessary? They are going to see us as a threat.
They are. And that is something that, should I make that decision, I will stand with the house. I will do what I must. If that means standing up to the Harkonnen, so be it.
And you don't see it much because while Zev does have emotions, most of the time they are kept pretty well in check so that they can do their job. But you do see a smile. And then they bow and say thank you. Did you hear that?
What was that? Somebody's
in the Jeffrey's tubes again.
No. No. She'll dip her head. She'll dip her head and say, of course. And I hope that, well, I know that as long as a decision remains in the air, the stress will never quite be gone completely. But know that I hope that at the very least, my answers tonight have assuaged your worries somewhat.
I hope so too. And Zev will leave and take the long way back to their quarters, just dropping by the chapel to make sure that the doctor's vital signs are okay.
The doctor has an expression on his face, like, because even though he is very clearly not conscious, his blue within blue eyes are open and staring at something that, like, mere mortals cannot comprehend. He looks like he is having the best time of his life, but also, interestingly, it looks as if there have been tears that have streamed down his face, and they are definitely like not fresh in that, you know, you can see like it's dried a bit, but like it is definitely a thing where whatever he is seeing provoked very profound emotion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then Zev will go back to their quarters for the night.
And yeah. Wow, guys. With that, I think we're at the end of game for tonight. Oh my gosh. It has been super, super wonderful role playing with you guys, as always.
And you.
We managed to have a lot of sweet deals and shadiness happening, which makes me so absurdly happy. I again thoroughly enjoyed absolutely everybody. Just rolling with some of these intense scenes and intense emotions. This was a very heavy session, and all of you guys are just such incredible role players. So again, please, you know, thank you all so much for rolling with this game, and thank you, audience, for watching this crazy experience.
Thank you
once
so much.
again, yeah, like once again, we have been playing Dune Adventures in the Imperium by Modiphius Entertainment. It is a 2D20 system. Next week we're gonna I am going to try to run combat. I am not the best combat ST, but I'm gonna do my best. You know, it'll be fun to see. What I like about the system is that it does have it set up to be a very more narrative focus, and hopefully they'll let people do some cool stuff. So, you know, look forward to raiding the castle next week, everybody. Otherwise, I guess let's go through our players and give a brief talk about, you know, where your character's head is at going into this big battle. Starting with Paul.
Raul is preparing for battle. So he is preparing for battle. He is not thinking about anything else other than getting through this battle. He might have a slight contingency plan about another thing, but he is preparing to go to a fight, so he is busy checking all the troops and all the troops of troops and all the troops of troops of troops. And doing the battle thing. He's very much in the zone.
Fabulous. Yeah, this is his wheelhouse here. He's just like, I live for this shit. Where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at PaulMargin6. You can also find me on the Response Team Encore podcast, which just had 100 downloads, so I'm going to pimp that real quick. You all should go download it if you haven't. It's really awesome. It's a great group of players, and it's super fun. So you'll be getting lots of those coming out. We play Lancer on there, and Lancer's great. Not that Dune is bad. Lancer's just a fun game as well. So if you want to get into that, it's a great place to start. You can find me on Weave the Tail doing stuff most seasons, and I think I have a one-shot that I'll be pimping next Wednesday, so everybody can find me there, and I will get that information out for next Tuesday's game, so I can pimp that out next Wednesday. So there you go. It's going to be aliens. We're going to be playing some Colonial Marines in the new Alien system.
Nice. That's awesome.
Nice.
It's going to be super fun.
They decided that I should be squad commander.
Oh.
No, I said they decided I should be squad commander, so I'm going to yell at people a lot.
Nice. Not much change from here, then. That's fine.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm not being typecast.
No. He talks very evenly and measured in here.
I do most of the time, actually. Just when the doctor's around, I get a little irked.
I mean...
Our beloved
we
Mark.
love you.
Oh, poor Mark.
All the
we
love.
miss you, Mark.
No, we do. It's sad not. He's my foil in this game. It's hard not to be.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway.
All right. Yes.
Zev is going through a lot of permutations about possibility at the moment. Possibilities that until now didn't seem like anywhere close to options. So we'll see where that leads. But yeah, there's a lot of things going on, and I'm not really sure where they're going to lead yet. So just trying to make sure everybody survives the coming fight, hopefully.
And where can we find you on the internet?
At Jace Ridley pretty much everywhere, and back here next week.
Awesome. All right, Miss Allie.
Hey, I'm Allie. You can find me on Twitter at LexiPhoenix. Cassandra, at the moment, finds herself at a crossroads, and I don't know which direction she's going to choose. So we'll see about that. Yeah, because this is definitely a situation where she's being pulled in two different directions, and it's going to require a bit of thinking. But I typically can also be found moderating for Dungeon Scrawlers tomorrow. But this week we are actually on quote unquote break. So we are going to be broadcasting something on twitch.tv/Dungeon Scrawlers, and it might be a replay of our Extra Life streams, but shuffled around so that people can see different stuff. So we'll see.
Awesome. And again, our beloved doctor, Mark, is not here tonight, but please check out Mondo Cane Publishing, their game design firm, on Twitter and everything. They did some work on Red Opera, and they're doing lots of cool stuff. So please give them a follow since he couldn't be here. Otherwise, I am Jen. I was the voice of many terrible people tonight, and that was a great time. And you can find me here every Tuesday running Dune. Otherwise, I play in our Pathfinder game on our sister channel, Penny for a Tale, every Sunday. SavageSparrow.com is my awesome website for nerdy apparel and accessories. Do please give that a shot. And I will also be attending PAX Unplugged. For those of you who are going to be going to that convention, I will actually be walking around and excited to meet people. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, exactly. Again, I want to thank Modifius Entertainment for sponsoring our show. Thank you to everybody who subscribed this night. I saw at least a couple. Please hit up our Loud Atlas in chat, because I believe subs get to name NPCs. Considering we're going into a battle, having some named NPCs die horribly would be really fun. Or do crazy heroic stuff. I don't know. It's gonna be great. Let's see. Again, thank you to the Raiders. We stream a Dune every Tuesday at 7 p.m. It's great. We only have 2 episodes left, so please stay tuned for the awesome endings. Otherwise, thank you guys so much. I think that's all we got. So yeah, let's go with that spice flow. Goodbye.
My arm.